this meeting order. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. Item 3, any citizen desiring to be heard. Hearing none. Item 4, consideration and possible action on approving minutes for June 30th, 2020 and July 1, 2020.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries.
You want to read this?
Unless Monty does.
I think I'll pass. Here we go. Item 5, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution congratulating Miss Shelby Cook on earning the Gold Award, the highest achievement award given by the Girl Scouts of America. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Martin's got a resolution he'll read.
Right, and I appreciate all the feedback on how to put this in and what it really means. It's really a great accomplishment. So, the resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Logan County, Oklahoma. Whereas, Gold Award Girl Scouts are the dreamers and doers who make the world a better place to the next level. Whereas, Girl Scouts Gold Award is the mark of a truly remarkable proof, not only that she can make a difference, but she already has. And whereas, Girl Scout seniors and ambassadors who earn the Gold Award tackle issues that are dear to them and drive lasting change in their communities and beyond. Whereas since 1916, Girl Scouts have accepted the challenge of earning the movement's highest award, thereby demonstrating a commitment to better serving themselves, their communities, and the world. Whereas this highest award has had different names over the years, including the Golden Eaglet from 1916 to 1939, the Curved Bar Award from 1940 to 1963, the First Class Award from 1938 to 40 and 63 to 80, and since 1980, the Girl Scout Gold Award. And whereas those who have earned it have shown the same outstanding leadership skills, determination, and resilience that have made Girl Scouts the Girl Scouts highest award unique rite of passage for young women across the movement. Whereas be it known that Shelby Cook, a resident of Logan County, has achieved this highest honor of the Girl Scouts of the USA, and therefore be it resolved this 15th day of July 2020 that Shelby Cook, a member of Logan County and the Girl Scouts of the United States of America, has earned the highest award in Girl Scouts, and henceforth will be recognized by the Girl Scouts of the USA as a Gold Award Girl Scout, so united by their similarities and their ideals, with all rights and privileges therein presented. Signed this 15th day of July 2020 by the Board of County Commissioners. I move we approve.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'd just like to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
She did. You'd like to come up and
Huge
get a
treat.
picture with the camera?
Yeah.
Sure is.
Right. And we also have Senator Chuck Hall here today.
Yeah.
I'd really think it'd be an honor to have the senator present the resolution to you after
Yeah.
we sign it for you.
Sure.
You're not
Shall we
going
have
to
wonder
do
with
this
this?
today,
Shall
right
we?
this minute, because I kind of sign it and you
Yeah.
can stamp it, but we will get the original to you.
I didn't know I was going to get to do this.
See what you fell into?
No kidding, this is exceptional.
And I'd like to buckle,
Thank you.
rodeo.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Right, well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
One, two, three.
Congratulations
Thank
again.
you.
It's great. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
We will get this original to you, I'll just have to number it and send it. Thank you all, congratulations, good job.
Great job. Congratulations.
Appreciate
You must be proud.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Y'all have a good day.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Item 6, consideration of possible action to confirm construction costs of Coal Train Phase 3, JP number 2508904, 5-year CIRB plan. This has been quite some mess.
Yes, sir. And gentlemen, I took the liberty of inviting the senator to join us today to discuss this. This is, as you all know, this has been, I think the original agreement with ODOT for Coltrane, the 5 miles, was signed back in 2013, if I saw that last. But the Coltrane project itself has been on the certified year plan for since 2010, if I remember correctly. But it wasn't put in contract to start until 2013, and we actually didn't get anything done until, what was it, 2017, when they started the first couple miles over there. In any event, that first mile off, what happened was the Coltrane Road project was a 5-mile project, and the original document that we just got sent to us is for that entire 5 miles. And the construction cost estimate and the utility relocation and the big expense, which was to buy additional right-of-way, was estimated for the entire 5 miles. And so the northern 4 miles was the ones that had to have the additional right-of-way purchased, because they were building a wider road and wanted a wider right-of-way, I guess, so the county could have more area to mow, because there's quite a bit for us to mow up there now. But that first mile off Waterloo Road is one that we're talking about today. So the project was split into 3 phases, or 3 separate projects, so we could try and get funding through ACOG, federal grant money. And we did. We got $1 million in federal grant money for this project that we're doing now, which is the north 2 miles. Just a little under $1 million. It was $900,000 and change. And so what is left on the table, and District 2, Chairman, District 2 and District 1 share this road down the middle. Is kind of our dividing line between our district, this 1 mile, and it's kind of been ignored. And the reason for that, originally it was going to be a 2-lane road with 4-foot shoulders or some sort of shoulders, but what happened was they got to looking at the footprint, and they couldn't acquire additional right-of-way without tearing down houses over on Mike's side of the road. So they decided to go with a different engineering plan, which was 3 lanes with curbs and gutters and all that. Which a 3-lane road with curbs and gutters is absolutely the most expensive design that you can put in a mile of road, or any road, as a matter of fact, because you got to have drainage underneath, you got to have curbs and that sort of stuff. But they wanted to fit it in the original 66-foot right-of-way, which is in existence today. So there was no additional right-of-way purchased for that mile itself. So it's been split into a separate project by itself. There was no right-of-way cost for that, but ODOT, when we split it into 3 separate projects, never went back and looked at how much did each one of those projects cost in utility relocation and right-of-way cost, and they did some construction cost once we split it in, and that's the only thing they broke out. Currently today, we've got some confusing estimates back from ODOT. I've got the pay items from that was just updated. Let me pass this out to you guys so we can look at this. here if you'd like a copy of that. Be happy to. So the pay items that we're talking about there, so that first sheet is our 5-year plan that we approved back in March 18th of this year. The second item down there, priority, this first item, the Crescent Creek Bridge, you've already got that going, right?
And they're supposed to let it in August.
Okay, so that's being done. Our second priority was this Coltrane Phase 3. And the amount that we put on there was the amount on the pay item, which is the second sheet here, right? And that estimate was just recently redone in 2020 by the engineers that are responsible to produce these documents for us and ODOT. So the construction phase, the construction cost of that was $3,512 for a 3-lane with curbs and gutters and all that stuff. So what I did was I went back to those engineers and said, can we fit a 2-lane road with either 2-foot or 4-foot shoulders into the existing right-of-way and meet county road standards? They came back and said, yes, we can, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But that cost with 4-foot shoulders was approximately a construction cost of approximately $2 million. That's a savings of $1.5 million. And we've been trying to get the folks from ODOT to talk to us about that. There always seems to be some issue with why we either can't talk about it or why it can't be done. The last thing that I saw in the email was the average daily count. We'd have to examine that and look at some things and that sort of stuff. The third page there is what kind of prompted this whole thing on our agenda, was that ODOT sent this document to us for not just this project, but the other ones that we have on our 5-year plan, for us to go over that. And as you can see down under the cost estimate under construction, they've got an estimated construction cost of $2 million. That prompted some real questions from Troy and myself and other people that have seen this, because it kind of makes us wonder, did they look at what we had asked to be reconsidered to do a road with 2 lanes and 4-foot shoulders for $2 million construction cost? Were they okay with that? Because we hadn't heard, we didn't know. Or was that a misprint, a mistype? Because again, the estimates for this mile of road for right-of-way and utilities, the right-of-way, there was no $672,000 in additional right-of-way costs. There was no additional right-of-way purchased for that. We did all that work ourselves. We relocated some fences over on the east side of that road, and that was as much right-of-way work that was done. Utility relocation, there was no utilities relocated that I know of over there. There was no telephone poles moved or anything like that. And so, again, those total costs were taken out of the entire the original 5-mile budget. One of the other things I'll remind the board of is that last year, ODOT asked us to release $1.3 million from this project back to them, promised them that they would give it back to us in our 5-year plan, and they never did. They refused to give it back to us. They actually sent it back to the ODOT division for redistribution throughout that. But we never saw that money come back to us. That was money that was left over from the Phase 1 project that they determined had an excess. Anyway, what we would like to do is finish Phase 3. Whether it's going to cost $3.5 million or $2 million in construction, I think at this point, I do care. I would like for it to do it in the most cost-effective manner that we can. But if they're telling us that the money's there, it's on our priority list, and we can get it done this year, then let's do it. I'm at the point I don't want to argue anymore. I just want to get it done. I would really like to save the $1.5 million because I think we could use it on the I-35 project. But we really need to be able to sit down and talk with the folks at ODOT. One of the things, here's the discussion that I had with the folks at Melberger over this. There you go, man. Sorry. And so, what we've got there. Did I give you two, Mike? Did I get two of them? No. No, that's all right. Let me borrow that one for just a second. Okay. So this first sheet is the email that I started back in March this year with Stephen Frost. He's the lead engineer for the Coltrane project. And I asked him to look at what it would cost to re-engineer Coltrane Phase 3 from a 3-lane curb and gutter to a 2-lane road with 4-foot or 2-foot shoulders, whatever could fit in there, and whatever met county road standards, right? And so they came back and said the expense was going to be $75,000 for re-engineering. And another $6,000 for resurveying because the survey was so old that they wanted to do that. Sounded reasonable to me. My response back to them was it sounded like a lot of money, but I always tell attorneys and engineers that it's a lot of money no matter what. And to please go back and kind of look at the ADT count. Can we use a 2-foot, 12-foot lanes, 4-foot shoulders? And so they took another cut at that. On the second page is when they came back to me and said, per your request, the estimated 2,038 ADT of Coltrane Road between Waterloo and Simmons. Now that's year 2038. They're estimating out to 2038 on what the ADT might be, right? And so they said that is somewhere around 4,484 for a daily count. That's pretty high. Anyway, the ODOT Design Manual Chapter 6 only addresses an ADT between 1,600 and 2,500. Therefore, we will use the AASHTO guidelines. I don't even know what that is, but it's something engineers know, for ADTs over 2,000. Per that, with the ADT over 2,000, the minimum paved roadway is 12-foot lanes with a minimum of a 2-foot paved shoulder on each side. As a part of the design, we would maximize the shoulder width to fit within the existing right-of-way with a minimum of 2-foot paved shoulders. And so I wrote back and said, great, give me an approximate construction cost so we can put that together for design. I assume your previous re-engineering $75,000 and estimated $6,000. So I wanted a total of what it was going to cost to re-engineer along with the construction cost to see if it was cost effective to do that, right? So the third page is where they sent that back to me. They sent two estimates, one for 2-foot shoulders and one for 4-foot shoulders, assuming that the 4-foot shoulders could be fit within the existing right-of-way. The total project cost with the $75,000 engineering fee and the $6,000 survey fee, the total project cost was $1,980,000 for a 2-foot shoulder, and $2,115,000 for 4-foot shoulders. That's, again, given the higher level, that's still a savings of $1 million. $1.5 million, pretty close to what is currently estimated for construction cost for that 1-mile road with 3 lanes and curbs and gutters. It's absolutely the most expensive design that they can go with. So anyway, what I'm asking for is, we really do need to sit down with ODOT in a semi-public forum. I mean, I get the feeling they really don't want to come to a public forum and discuss this with us. But I would like to think that they want to do what's best for the taxpayers of Logan County and Oklahoma. The CERB money comes out of there as well. Again, I'm going to try real hard not to be too critical of ODOT. They've got a lot of these projects going on, and maybe they just dropped the ball on this one. But it's a ball that keeps getting bounced around, and I would like to see it. I'd like to see us put this project together and get it done. And just a side note, with the money that we would save from this, we could pave about 5 miles of road ourselves. We could re-overlay 5 miles of road with the contracts that we've got today. That's just with the savings. This road could have been completed at least 5 years ago that I know of. We could have repaired, done base repair, and paved that road, repaved that road, and made it functional for the people that live there for approximately $250,000 5 years ago. But it's just sat there, and it's just deteriorated, and it's one of the worst roads that we've got, paved roads in our part of the county. And with that, I'm gonna get off on the soapbox, but
I'm not
I
really
appreciate
not
it.
on the agenda to talk about this, but while the senator's here, I'd like to point out that if there's some way that we can get the CIRB funds released directly to the county, I think we could save taxpayers, big use of money. For a quick example is, I built a bridge out on Midwest Boulevard. No, it wasn't Midwest, it was, anyway, out here east of Guthrie. I built a 62-foot bridge. It's 26 foot wide, meets all the standards. I built it myself for $72,000. ODOT's fixing to do this job for me up here that's probably gets 25 cars a day on it, and the estimated cost on it is like 1.2 million. It really don't make no sense to me, but I appreciate them helping me do it, but I think they overkill a lot of these projects.
If I may, what I see is that the ODOT is in the business of building highways. And I see what they're going to be doing up here on 105. And what they're going to be doing on 105, going east of Guthrie, is exactly what they are designing for Luther Road going north. It costs a heck of a lot more to do that north of Waterloo. And the consequences of that is that we could probably pay the entirety 10 miles for what we're spending on that 2 miles of Luther Road, and make it a good road, a safe road that would get the people out of the mud and really increase the ability for people to get from Oklahoma County up to 105. And so I see that as a way over cost. Counties can do it without having to go through DEPA trials. They can do it without the type of engineering that costs so much. We know how to lay roads. We know how to get them where they are stable. Unfortunately, we don't have the bucks to do that at the moment, really, in a really educated way, but we try our best to do that. So what we see is that, yes, this is going to make a wonderful road out there, no doubt about it, just like it has over here on Coltrane. But there's all those roads that approach it that are still in bad shape, when you want to compare that to anything, say, that Oklahoma County is able to put in. And the disparity right there, plus with the urban sprawl that we're getting out there. I mean, people are moving out in the country in droves, are leaving cities. And I have all kinds of people moving out there that want a good road going to their new little castle they put on a fairly good sized piece of real estate. And it's very challenging indeed. I've got 350 miles basically of dirt gravel roads and about 50 miles of asphalt. So now I'm going to have this 2 miles put in there. Originally it was going to be 10, then it was 6, then it was 5, now it's 2. And, you know, it's just disheartening. It's a huge challenge.
Like, I agree with what you're saying. The counties can do things a lot more efficiently. And then the other downside, if I might, of all this high-end over-engineered road is once they get finished with it, they turn it over and say, okay, county, you're responsible to maintain it now, right? So now we've got 12 in Coltrane Road, for example. By the time we get finished with that, that'll be $14 million in 5 miles of road. And yeah, it'll last for another 5 or 6 years, and then it's going to need some maintenance done to it. And now we've got this behemoth out there that we can't maintain. It's like giving somebody a big yacht and saying, now you got to pay the insurance and the maintenance upkeep on it. And you know, it's the fee for service thing we talked about. If you can't afford the yacht, you can't afford the maintenance on it. So that's another big problem that we've got, is now we're responsible for doing the maintenance. When there's no maintenance funds that come along with that. I mean, we're stuck with what we got and what we get, and that's the challenge that we're having. And that's why, I mean, Mike brought up a real good point. If we were given the funds, and Monty too, for building bridges, roads, whatever, if the funds came directly to the county and let us put it in our own plan, we manage the is it CBRI funds today? CBRI was also at one time managed by ODOT, and now it's sent directly down to the counties. And we manage our own funds there. It's done by spreadsheet. It's kept by our county clerk. We as the Board of Commissioners vote on which projects we're going to use that money for, and look at it that way. We really do need to put together, the statutes calls for a five-year plan at the county level, right? And that we share that plan with ODOT. And any funds that come from ODOT, we show that up on the 5-year plan. But that has kind of drifted away from being a county responsibility. I think some counties use the CEDs for some of that stuff to help them with that. Our board has taken the position, since I've been here anyway, and maybe before that, these fellows can answer that, that's our responsibility. Our county roads are our responsibility, and the statutes reflect that as well in a lot of areas. So sir, I really do appreciate you being here and taking an interest in this. And with that, please, if you'd like to say some things, we appreciate hearing from you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Sure.
Well, thank you, commissioners, for first of all, Mr. Goodman, for inviting me. I appreciate it, and it shouldn't come as a surprise, I know, to you, and I want the other two commissioners to know that it shouldn't come as a surprise that I'm not surprised about what I've just heard. I've been made aware of that on multiple occasions. By my visits here, by visits of both the commissioners. I don't know that I've seen you at the Capitol yet. You're probably busy working on roads.
That's right.
So the majority of this commission has worked the Capitol halls and kept your state representative and your state senator abreast of the issues that you're most concerned about. Because of that, I have worked myself into slowly becoming an authority on CIRB and the CED process, at least as a member of the legislature. I wanted you to know that there are a few members of the legislature that understand CIRB and the process, and it's clumsy. CIRB was created by legislation 15 years ago, and it hasn't been looked at or reviewed at all since then, since that time. We now have history that, in some cases, has been success, and I think we need to applaud the successes. You know, it was pretty well, I think for the people watching at home, you all know this, but it does have a purpose. And the purpose is that through your 5-year plan, it allows you to accumulate large chunks of dollars to be able to do large projects that you couldn't normally do under the budget that you're operating under today. It was also used to directly, take care of deficiency bridges in the state of Oklahoma. The list was extremely large, and that list has now come down. Not to the extent that any of us are satisfied, but it has come down. And these are generally large, expensive projects. And so there has been some success in the CRB program from where I sit. But understanding what you all are going through, there's been some failures. And the failures have been, in my opinion, poor communication at the state level back to the counties. The misunderstanding of over-engineering and the cost associated with that, which you have outlined here today. And so where are we going to go from here? So as Commissioner Goodman knows, I have spent a lot of time with ODOT, put them on notice that I plan to get involved in this. I have put ACO on notice that I plan to be involved in this. You've seen me introduce legislation that puts CEDs under state audits, state audit requirements that will help and go a long way, as opposed to independent audits that they were operating under today. I've also requested, as the Commissioner knows, an interim study on the CIRB process that I believe will be awarded to me. So we'll be conducting an interim study at the Capitol on the CIRB process. And those will be scheduled for late September to early October, in that time frame. As the Commissioner knows, I will put you all on notice to be there for that interim study. And if one of you can agree on who will be speaking on behalf of Logan County, I'll try to get you some speaking time at the interim study so that you can share the issues that you've experienced. I think that can go a long way. I'm already working on an agenda. I've asked Commissioner Goodman to help me formulate an agenda. We'll have speakers from ODOT, we'll have speakers from ACO, we'll have speakers from the CEDs, we'll have speakers from counties. And then of course I'll moderate the interim study. So we will shed light on the issues that you're facing statewide. It will be covered by press, as most interim studies are, and it should start the ball rolling. I did want to talk specifically about my belief too that it would be beneficial for you to get the CIRB money directly to you, okay? And I concur to an extent. You must understand that there are other counties and other county commissioners that don't want that.
Exactly.
That they like the idea of pooling and 5-year plan and building up funds. I haven't seen the numbers directly. You guys probably know them, but we're talking about a $1.5 million annual allocation using the $120 million capped CIRB fund that would roughly come back to the county. And so so I represent 4 counties, as you're aware: Kingfisher County, Logan County, Noble County, and Pawnee County. And they're not unanimous in this discussion. simply because I have two counties that would like to see the money come back directly, and I have two counties that like the process the way it is because it allows them to do larger projects. The fear always becomes if we send the 1.5 million, that's a round number, if we send the $1.5 million back, you all have immediate needs. I mean, you really do have immediate needs, and we need to do better with funding on county roads and bridges, no question about it. The fear becomes that those immediate needs would somehow eat up those SERB funds, and when the big project comes up, when the need to do a 3 or 4 mile project or a $3 million bridge or a $5 million bridge, because you don't have that accumulation over time of dollars, that the money wouldn't be there to do that. That's the fear that other counties have. So we have an issue. We have an issue with SERB and how that's functioning, and I think there are much needed improvements that can happen, should happen, and will happen. That's something that I'm going to battle for as long as the citizens allow me to serve in the legislature. You have my word on that. But I also need your help. I need your help to work with your other ACO members, and for those watching at home, ACO is the Association of County Commissioners of Oklahoma. I'm going to need your help to start attending those meetings and to start entering into a dialogue and getting some sort of consensus on the direction this ought to go. It seems to me, and it's been brought to my attention, that maybe this can be a county option. Okay? I don't know how that works, but it was brought to my attention that maybe it can be a county option, meaning that if this county decides that they want their CIRB allocation, they get it. And if Pawnee County wants to be part of the 5-year collective dollars, that they remain in that program with through the CEDs, using the CEDs. So that's all things that can be fleshed out during this interim study. I think we're all wrapping up now because I've consumed enough time. I think we all agree on one thing, and that is that county roads and bridges are underfunded. And that there is a lot of infrastructure that needs to be repaired, and that you all are doing your absolute best with the dollars that you're getting. And frankly, I don't know how you do it. I honestly don't know how you do it. Now that I've spent the time in the dollars and seen the budgets and seen the costs to repair a bridge or to repair a road or to keep a dirt road, in good condition, I don't know how you do what you do, and so I commend you, all three of you, for the job you've done with the dollars that you've got. So you've got my attention, and as at least two, as you commissioners already know, I'm getting the attention of ODOT. I've had them in my office directly. I've had them setting with county commissioners from Logan County. I have my colleagues in the Senate, and I'm working on the House too to see the importance and the value of needing to make some changes in CIRB, and I'm committed and focused on doing that. So my first start is to conduct this interim study in late September, early October, and I do believe now, for the record, those have to be approved by Senate leadership. But I have a verbal commitment that it will be approved. We're in a COVID era now. The Capitol is under major construction, so our meeting facilities are not as available to us as they once were. And so we've been requested to keep our interim study requests down. I had 4 interim studies that I wanted to request, and I pulled 3 of them so that I could make this my single and only priority. So I want you three to know that I'm committed to this, and I'll do my absolute best. But please, repeating now, but please get with your colleagues and let's try to work out some sort of consensus on because it's going to be difficult for me to go to the well of the Senate floor and battle for you to get dollars direct when I've got half my colleagues, their county commissioners, are telling them that we don't want this. We want the cumulative dollars under the 5-year plan. So I could really use your support going forward to try to reach some sort of consensus with your other colleagues in your 76 other counties, with Logan County, of course, being 77th. So thank you very much for letting me address the commission. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming, but as these guys pointed out already, you know, they come up and build a $3 million road. This month, I got $166 deposited in my M&O account. How am I gonna maintain that $3 million road with $166? I can't even brush hog it, so.
I could not agree more. You know, and M&O is, you know, is a big thing. You know, we got you some direct money, you know, for M&O this year.
Sure.
That doesn't come close to meeting the needs, but it's a start. But I completely understand and know the importance of M&O dollars.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming up, thank you.
Well, thank you, and if you're okay, I'll excuse myself, but I do appreciate the opportunity to address the commission.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Chairman.
that. You bet.
Have a good day.
All right.
Thanks for your help. So Marvin, are you wanting to, on this agenda item, was you wanting to make sure that the cost was $2,115,524.94? I mean, that's what
So,
Melberger.
yeah, so that's what Melberger says it can be re-engineered for and done. They can have the re-engineering done rather quickly and the survey done. Once that's done, it's ready to start. I mean, it's been shovel ready for a long time. The re-engineering would take a couple weeks. The resurvey would take about a week. I think that can be done concurrently. I am sure that it could be ready and re-engineered before ODOT could let the project. So one of the things that I really want to do is get ODOT to address this with us.
I'm with you.
We just need to find out, you know, are we stuck with what the design that they've got, the $3.5 million design? If so, if they're ready to pull the trigger on it this year, let's get it done. If they're interested in helping us save $1.5 million that we can use in our SERP program for like the I-35 interchange, which is not completely funded, or even Mike's Luther Road project. $1.5 million is $1.5 million. And that would help us speed up projects here. So that's what I'm wanting to do, sir. That's what I'm wanting to do.
So I'm just interested in a motion on this, or do we need a motion?
Well, I don't think we can confirm the construction cost without ODOT here. That was the assumption was that they would be here and we could confirm that with them. So at this point, I'd like to table this item until we can get a commitment from ODOT to come visit with us. And even if we have to schedule a special meeting around their schedule to do that.
All right. So
I concur.
All right. Thanks, sir.
all righty, thank you for bringing it up. Do we need to do action
Well,
on 7, 8, and 9?
And I was just so that it was out there. I think you all received the email from Melissa Davis yesterday stating that ODOT sent these resolutions and they've now determined they're not necessary and there should be no action taken on them.
So I have a little bit of an issue with that. And that is that the documents that talked about money and cost for the coal train project, and I assume it's the same with some of these others, not necessarily the I-35 because it was the most recent one. But the coal train, those cost estimates were done back in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've had a bit of inflationary issues that, you know, as far as the cost estimates. So I don't know what they're asking us to do, or I don't know if they're asking us to do anything. Again, it goes back to item 6. What's it going to cost?
I guess we can do these program resolutions and send them to them. If they don't need them, they don't need them.
Well, I think if I understood, and maybe I was wrong in the email that we got from Melissa Davis, I think she's saying that these, because she did send me this morning, I do have the originals. You know, she's come to find out, well, you guys have already, according to her email, you know, signed up and done all of this. And so we had an internal discussion and decided you didn't need to do these. I would just suggest that you don't take action on this until ODOT confirms specifically what is or is not. I would hate for this board to put their signatures on something that you may be held to or not held to, or until we can confirm with ODOT what they're doing.
I agree.
Yep, I think we need ODOT.
Just so everyone knows, so 7, 8, and 9
No
is gonna be a no action, and they're all related, they're just different projects.
Right.
So we'll move to item 10. Are you good on 10, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Consideration and possible action to approve contract with FSB for engineering service for bridge circle number 198A on Midwest Boulevard, south of 105, in the amount of $18,750.
Yes, sir. And that is part of that 137 that we allocated. So, yes, sir, I'm good with that. Go
Is that a
ahead.
motion?
Yes, that's a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, and I mean, the reason I don't have no more discussion, I mean, we've talked about this 3 times, so.
Pretty much, yeah,
I'm good
yeah.
with it.
That's a maximum cost.
All in
on
favor
that.
say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 11, consideration and possible action to approve 2021 local interlocal agreement with Circuit Engineering number 5. Whew. You know how I feel about that, but we do get some money out of that.
So that's one of the things that you were gonna come back to us, are we gonna get any funds allocated by the CED
I
this
think,
year?
I think we will, and also that's how we get our dumpster program. I mean, we get funding for that, not a lot, but
I thought that was through ECHO.
That's through ECHO.
it's,
OCCEDB writes the check.
Oh, really? Interesting.
But I do have a SDP for one of those bridges on Luther Road that comes through the CED
Right.
for 2024.
And all those projects like that, I mean, it's like the emergency funds and those projects like that. You know, the senator was talking earlier about, you know, a lot of counties like to pool the money so the money would be available. You know, if they created an emergency fund for those kinds of things and kept, let's say, $30 million, $50 million in an emergency fund for counties that have an emergency comes up, I'm just thinking out loud here that if we needed to spend $3 million for a bridge and we didn't have the money available right now, but we do get our own CERT money comes to us every year, we could borrow money like they do with the ETR fund, right? Borrow money from that account, build our bridge and pay it back using the CERT money that we get year over year until it's done. There's ways to do all of this stuff without taking away the options of some of these other counties. But, that's why I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. That's a really great point. But I guess if we need to approve our interlocal agreement, I don't have a problem with that, with the exception of I don't want CED5 managing our 5-year program.
Mike, you need to sign those.
Mike, you missed. You
I missed
missed.
one.
I don't want to manage our 5-year program.
See that one.
Well, I guess if I had to make a recommendation, I would like to do it again. I mean, not that I'm crazy about them, but if we can get another 25,000, why wouldn't we?
Well, I agree with that. Again, my only no vote would be that I don't want to manage our sort of 5-year plan. That's our board's responsibility.
We've all kind
So
of agreed on that.
I think all 3 of us would sign this, so I guess we agree to it.
Well,
You need to.
Good.
I know we do.
oh, I thought that went with this contract. Sorry about that. This, I
It all got a little ahead.
I thought it slid out of there. I'm sorry.
the
I didn't try to slide that in on you.
No, I know you didn't. I wouldn't have signed it.
I wasn't trying to sneak one on you.
Well,
I thought it came unpinned here.
I will move that we approve the action to accept the 2021 interlocal agreement with Circuit Engineering 5.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 12. No action on 12. Consideration of possible action to approve resolution designating official board member and alternates to Circuit Engineering number 5. Who would like to do that for Logan County?
You don't want to be chair anymore?
I don't care, it's just up to the board.
You do a good job.
You do a good job.
Whatever the board wishes, I'm just here to help.
I can certainly back you up whenever it's needed. I try to get them all to them. I go to all of them. Sometimes I can't make it.
I mean, I guess we can have an official board member, but I mean, I don't understand how come everybody's just not an alternate. Whoever can make it, can make it.
Sure.
If something comes
Well, they
up.
are, basically.
Well, I think the way they've got it set up and the way it's always been, they have the first, so that would be in your absence, the immediate, and then of course the next. So all three of you would end up, it's just what direction would fill in for the chairman immediately. That's what it's set up, designed for.
Would you like to be the first seat?
If you'd like for me to do that, I'd be happy to do that.
Make a motion, Mike's seat, or Marvin's seat 1 and Mike's seat 2, I'll be seat 3.
So you're gonna make him the designated board member? That's your okay, when you said
That-
first, I thought you were talking
Right.
alternate.
No, that's my motion, to make Marvin the board representative, Mike second, Monty fifth.
You'd be working on roads, huh? Yeah, I hear you.
I can't second my own motion.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Okay,
Everybody say aye.
I'll type this in now that we know. I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have had it prepared till now, so.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thanks for stepping up to the plate. Item 13, consideration and possible action designating representative to negotiate contract with the city of Guthrie for emergency management services and review a proposed contract.
Did you happen to bring a copy of the proposal that I had, or that I worked up when it was given to us back when I was the chairman of our board, and I went through and looked at what I thought was good. So basically what I had proposed was that all of the, I'm going to call them beads and trinkets that the city of Guthrie was giving us to provide them with a emergency services. And basically that's almost an entire manager. I mean, our emergency service officer spends quite a bit of time doing city work. And so what I talked up here, and it may be a bit excessive, but I did away with the internet, because I think we can afford our own internet for our employee. And the phone, I think we can afford a phone for our employee. Because we got a new phone service and we're getting consolidated internet anyway here. So that made sense for that to go away. And so the city has to have an emergency management service agreement with somebody, or they have to hire their own emergency manager, right? I mean, by statute, they have to do that, okay? So to contract with us for almost a little or nothing was a great service to them. And so what I proposed was that the city, that we could provide them with emergency services, but I thought it was going to take probably us hiring another person for us to get the full use out of our emergency manager that we have today, and I'll get to that in just a second. But for the city to agree to pay $60,000 a year for emergency service managed for the county to help them do that. That's a starting point for negotiation. I think that there's some room there, but certainly when you talk about a full-time employee, as you fellows already know, personnel costs are pretty high. And the $60,000, when you start talking about insurance, FICA and all that other stuff, we're talking about paying somebody, what, about $35,000 a year. That's a salary. And so that is a full-time person. They kind of need a full-time person to help them out with that stuff, it seems to me. So anyway, that's what I put down that the city ought to do. But when I talk about emergency services on the second page here, our county emergency management office, what we're supposed to be doing, right, is developing a severe storm spotters network designed to provide advanced early warning of impending severe weather threats to the community. That's one of David's responsibilities, and I think that's something that we really need to pick up on and try and enhance them. It's unfortunate David's not here to shake his head up and down or go no, but the second thing was community coordination with community officials, the Oklahoma Civil Defense Emergency Management as necessary for emergency management programs. Manage the operation and maintenance of the Emergency Operations Center. Our Emergency Operations Center is this little cubicle back there, right, in that, and it's lined with glass, right, and so when we get those hailstorms throwing softball-sized hail through that glass, our Emergency Service Center is pretty much going to be taken out. And we've discussed a little bit with the sheriff's office over there, maybe finding a spot in a bunker or something over there, maybe in one of the cells. I don't know that we can utilize for that. Maybe that'd be a good spot.
There you go.
But it's kind of wet in some of those spots. But my point is, I think there's there's better places that we can have our emergency. If we're going to have a real emergency management office, there's better spots in that corner with all that window and glass. Establish and maintenance of county-wide policies and communications for all employees and volunteers. That's for emergency services, right? Coordination and development and implementation of emergency operations plans within the county, including hazardous material incident. We don't, since I've been here, I'm not sure that we've done any drills or anything like that on hazardous material spills, that sort of stuff. We experienced one over in Payne County with a vehicle truck accident. Right, we spilled a couple hundred gallons of diesel out on the asphalt. It wasn't until then that I figured out, DEQ told me right quick, that's hazardous material, you got to clean that up. So, our EOC didn't get involved with that, but it was in a different county, theirs did, and it's kind of expensive to clean that stuff up, guys. Here's one that's really important. Preparation and distribution of a disaster preparedness educational material to the citizens of the county to provide information to the community as how best to prepare and protect themselves from consequences of a disaster. We just got this brand new alert system in, right? And we're paying for sirens and that sort of stuff as well. And we've talked about converting over from the siren system to this digital system. As you know, it's been pointed out to me, there's some people that are in digital system holes. I mean, you can't get cell service in some areas of our county. I've seen a few of them lately. But what we really need to do where we can is to get people more educated on taking advantage of that digital system. We don't have that many people using that system right now. I talked with Troy earlier, was it last week? You and I discussed that. How many do you remember off the top of your head how many we got?
The numbers are different depending on which part, because we have several thunderstorm watches or warnings.
Right.
I always go to the tornado warning. To me, that personally is the most critical. And I think right now it was 88 that were subscribed to the tornado warning.
Right.
part.
And we need to do better than that. I mean, we really do, and that's kind of the responsibility of our emergency management office, to get that word out, help get people educated, and drive those numbers up. And then coordination, development, and implementation of disaster preparedness and training program for countywide employees and volunteers concerning their responsibilities during a declared emergency. This is drills and things like that. And this is an area I think we can also improve on. So I guess what I'm getting at here, y'all are welcome to look at that. What I'm getting at here is, I think that we need to do a better job of helping David focus on areas that is required by statute, and all that stuff came out of the title that describes that job and the job duties and what we're supposed to be doing. In doing that, David really can't devote all of his time, or the majority of his time, to helping the city of Guthrie. They need the help. I mean, I'm not saying they don't, but we really need to look at a different relationship, I think, between our emergency management office and the city of Guthrie as far as that contract goes.
I mean, it sounds like to me we need to sit down and come up with a job description to help David along.
Right.
This is what we expect. I mean, this is almost a job description to me.
Yes,
but,
it is.
I agree. But anyway, I asked Troy to pull some numbers together. Currently, David's total budget with, some maintenance and unemployment and all that, everything total together was $71,602.68. So then we get a EMPG grant yearly for $20,000 go toward that salary. So anyway, that knocked it down to $51,602, and currently Guthrie pays $14,251.72. With that being said, $1,251 of that is a telephone line. So $13,000 actually goes right to the contract. Then they just provide a phone that I was giving them credit for.
Right.
So currently they're paying 28%, we're paying 72%. I'm thinking it needs to be closer to 50-50, if anything.
Well, I guess my point is, and I don't disagree with that, but my point is, can we really afford David spending 50% of his time doing that? And when we really, there's things that we really need to get done here. So the board action here is to designate a representative to negotiate a contract with the city. I'm going to say something that may be a little bit unconventional, but I don't think that anyone on our board should be doing that. I think we should nominate the sheriff to do that negotiation for us.
Wow.
On the spot.
Sorry to put you on the spot there.
What?
Were you listening?
I gave up negotiations when I left the city.
Well, he's good at it. See, he knows how to do that negotiation with the city.
I agree with you, Marvin, I do. The rural area has absolutely been growing exponentially. And the number of citizens we have out there are needing more services. They also need more communication, like you said. The city of Guthrie is starting to increase in population as well, and you do have to remember that we are also their commissioners. And so we do owe them something there, but I do believe that we're needing two people, and I do believe that Guthrie needs to step up to the plate and start doing their fair share of supporting our emergency management for the entire county. And I do believe that you're on the right track, and I do believe that we do need to renegotiate this contract.
Well, it sounds like to me we don't need to negotiate a contract at all. It sounds like to me we just need to cut our ties and we'll have ours and they get their own.
Then we don't represent our people.
I mean, that's what it sounds like.
I'm actually okay with that.
If we
Right.
need to, I mean,
Well, they've had it in the past where Guthrie's had their own, the
Right.
city of Guthrie's had their own,
Yeah.
and the counties had their own. I don't know what the reason for the merging of the two was. But
Cut the cost.
Yeah, I'm sure it was cut cost, but I think, I think we're getting into a time of we're looking at the population of the county is growing exponentially, as we've all said, and so we got one guy trying to take care of all the county as well as the heavy, the densely populated city of Guthrie area, and I don't know that for us to try to put more stuff on David and still try to maintain the things he's currently doing, I mean, I think in some aspects we're setting him up for failure.
So we absolutely do need 2 people in our emergency, in the entire picture. We need at least 2 people.
Well,
If Guthrie wants to do one, we can do one, fine and dandy. If they want to coordinate it, I wouldn't have a issue with that, going into one office.
So when you say we might, you're talking about the city of Guthrie and the county together?
Either that
Well, I mean,
or separate.
But, I mean, so we've got other municipalities in the county as well, right? So,
Right.
we've got Crescent up there, they need emergency services. See, and that's where, I think David could help a little bit with the smaller communities, but a bigger one like Guthrie that takes up a lot
Good
of,
point.
lot of cycles. I'm more inclined to, what Monty said, maybe it's time for them to kind of do their own thing.
I would certainly lean in that direction.
But, I mean, we've got Langston, we've got Coyle, we've got.
Langston University, their chief is also their emergency manager. He kind of wears both hats.
Right.
But I think that, like I said, if we're continuing to put more stuff on David as far as education and stuff like that, then the things he's currently doing is going to suffer, because I know that we can inundate him with things to do,
Right.
and set him up for failure if we're not careful.
Certainly.
And a
We
county
don't
our
want
size
that.
really should have 2. I mean, honestly, if you want to, if you truly want a emergency management program that works the way it's supposed to, 2 would be optimal.
Sure, that's why I mean, I kind of tongue-in-cheek recommended the sheriff, but he is actually more knowledgeable about emergency services than, and not to take away from anybody on the board, but anybody in this room. He's got the most
I
knowledge
mean, I'll help however I
and
can.
skill.
You've been in a lot of those exercises.
And so when we
that
talk about
David
negotiating,
was put on.
with the city on that kind of stuff, I think that's what this action is for. I think Sheriff Devereaux's the best person to represent our county in that negotiation. Yes, ma'am.
Well, here's what I'm gonna throw out as the person that has now heard all of this. I think the thing of it is, I think you have 2 issues to take your action and consider, if I'm hearing correctly. We either don't want to negotiate, we say we're not gonna do a contract and we're ending it, which I've heard come out, or you want to negotiate and appoint someone to do it. I've heard both things come out.
Well, I think if we're gonna let Damon do it, and talk to them and see what they got on their mind and see what they think their best move would be, neither partner up with us and help hire an additional help. But just, it says that he negotiated the contract. I don't know that I would vote for the contract until I've seen it. I mean,
Well, exactly, I mean, you don't know what it's gonna be. I just was saying, we were hearing 2 directions that you were discussing.
Right.
but I don't have an issue with letting Damon visit with them. I mean, he's got a relationship with the city.
That's true.
Right. So what, with,
Love hate.
the way the item's written, it says, action to designate representative to negotiate contract, right? And review a proposed contract. So the review would be, something, whatever came back from the discussion, right? From Damon and the city, would come back to the board here, and that's kind of how I would see it, if that's something that you guys can live with.
So
So do we want to table this? or-
was that a motion?
That is a motion to ask Sheriff Devereaux to represent the county in negotiations with the city of Guthrie for emergency
Do
management
that on
services.
this, I'll second.
The item says designate a representative.
Okay,
Uh,
yes.
So I have a motion and a second, but I do have a little bit of discussion. Damon, are you okay with doing
Yeah, I'd
that?
be happy to try to work with the city and try to resolve, some of our issues to the best outcome for everybody.
Yeah. So I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you, Sheriff.
You bet.
Did you get a copy of this?
No, sir.
I need to
Do my whole thing.
Item 14, consideration of possible action to approve agreement for service between Coyle Public Schools and the Sheriff's Office for school resource officers for the period of August 2020 through May 2021.
This is, of course, Cool's got a new superintendent. We met with them earlier, when school let out to discuss the possibility of continuing the contract. The only change, I believe, in the contract is we were paying for a lot of after-school activities, and they've agreed to contract that with the officer on an individual basis, so we're not paying that. Other than that, it's the people over there enjoy it. They enjoy having an officer in the schools. The relationships being built are priceless, and I think it's something we need to continue.
I agree that they need to be there with that contract and with the officer individually. So would they be using county property then?
Yes.
That's my only issue.
Well, we did that to try to alleviate a lot of the paperwork issues with Troy, because we agreed, since it's a contract with schools, when they work those events, they actually get paid for that instead of just comp time. If it's something that we need to do differently, in order to try to take care of the school and not burden the city or the county as much as you can.
Yeah, I agree.
So that office will be in the high school there, or is it?
Yeah, the office out of, as soon as you walk into the main part of the school, they have an office and stuff and stay there
Excellent.
7:30 to 3:30.
We already compensated, I think the sheriff says.
Yeah,
we already-
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we're already
Yeah,
doing it.
for the regular contract, but let's say that the officer was gonna go attend a basketball game, just for security reasons, then I mean, we're providing a car and uniforms.
I see your point.
I mean, I don't know, I know it's legal to do that,
But they would be paying a
always kind of
salary.
having an issue with it. So.
Yeah, anything,
Top time or-
anything outside of the scope of that normal day is paid to the deputy directly, like an off-duty security job, if you will. And like I said, we're in negotiations with them all currently on some issues that they're having. And if we needed to continue with the way we did and say we only paid that overtime once a month to try to take some of the burden off Troy, I'm here to do it however we can to make it less of a headache for Troy. Just because I know it is a cumbersome nightmare.
So, what about this contract if we get halfway through the school year and they say, well, we're not gonna have school no more, and they still gonna pay?
Well, the thing we did this last year, because that happened, and we ended up using those officers on the street. It kind of worked out good with some injuries we had. We were fortunate to be able to put those deputies back on the street to fill some gaps, and we didn't charge them for the years the month or two that they were out. And that was a concern they had too, is in the event of something happens and they end up shutting schools down, what's gonna happen? And I told him, I said, we can always use those deputies on the street. And I don't want you guys paying for a deputy that's not gonna be at your school. We'd make up the difference probably with our cash.
So they can get out of this contract then?
Yeah, I'm sure I can't remember, I'm sure there's a termination deal in it somewhere. That's all I got to say. But I know like Mall, you know, they're going into kind of a situation there where money's gonna be an issue this year and trying to negotiate some things with him. But like I said, if God forbid that does happen again, we can certainly use those deputies on the street.
You guys got any more questions?
I move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Nicole thanks you too.
Aye. There you go. Do what you think. Item, where we at? Item 15. Consideration of possible action on approving contract with Cedar Ridge General Contracting in the amount of $33,120.97 for a 3-sided rugged metal frame building at Fairgrounds.
The contract,
Bid number was 2020-15.
this is as it was awarded and it has been through Lowell.
I'll make the motion to approve this contract.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 16, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution accepting $400 donation from John and Paula Tiller to District 2 to be used for general purposes.
Yes, sir. They're very happy with their road and wanted just to make a straight contribution
What, they live in District 3?
to.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 17, consideration and possible action to approve resolution accepting $500 donation from University and Community Federal Credit Union to Sheriff's Office for tables and chairs for training room.
There you go.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Thank you.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank them. Nice. 18, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution accepting $1,556 donation from Red Bud Lane and Pine Ridge Road Association to District 2 for approximately 184 tons of rock to be placed on Red Bud Lane.
Appreciate Bill Cook, who's the president of that HOA. And
County
he's done quite a bit of
maintained.
work in there. So I make the motion to approve.
The county maintained.
Second.
Yes.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 19, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution accepting $51,400 donation from Oakwood Creek Home Association to District 1 for 2 inches of asphalt overlay to be applied to roads within Oakwood Cedar Creek addition.
So this is using the laid-in-place contract that we just approved at the first of the month. And they were able to, with the funds that they had accumulated in their road district through their HOA, they were able to raise that up to a 2-inch overlay. We originally looked at a 1.5-inch overlay. So they're able to get a little more asphalt on the road there, and they're really happy with that. The county's going to kick in approximately $16,000 to complete that contract. So the county is paying for part of it. They're paying for most of it, just like what we did when we did deep patching with them late last year. They went in and had when we had the patching contract, the deep patch contract. We contributed, I think, $8,000 to that as well. but they paid the majority of it. It was quite a costly thing. if you
County
look at it.
maintain, I mean.
It is.
County
It was
maintain.
one that was accepted before I got here, and yeah. But they've been really, really good. That HOA's been really good about taking up their own collection. They're really proud of the roads and want to keep them in good shape. And
Pretty unusual.
And
Most
so
of these additions.
I move we approve the.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 20, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution accepting $9,805 donation from Triplet Ranch LLC to District 1 for approximately 1,080 tons of rock to be placed on Triplet Road between Broadway and Academy.
So, gentlemen, this business approached us. Apparently, that area was salted with a oil field spill of some brine water or something like that, and it was declared contaminated for quite a while. That contamination's been cleaned up, and life's good for them out there now. They are starting a business in that location, and the gentleman that runs the business wanted us to help him get Triplet Road from Broadway out there with a little more all-weather road, gravel all-weather road. Possibly in a year or so, he wants to have it paved, and he'll be helping us with that as well. But right now, he's donated almost $10,000 for rock, and the county will be also doing another half of that to help pay for the transportation. That $10 a ton transport guide that you found, Monty's really helping us out on that.
Good deal.
That's going to help us split that out. So it'll be under $20,000 to put 3 inches of rock on a mile road, and that's really a good bargain for the county, I think. So I move we approve accepting this donation, and we'll start on that the first week in August when the funds become available.
Well, and it's a wonderful thing to have citizens out there who understand that, for getting a good road to their place, they do need to step up to the plate if possible and help the county with that. So I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. 21, consideration and possible action to amend KillPro software service agreement for Sheriff's Office, reducing the annual fee to the amount of $4,208. I'll make the motion we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What was it, $10,000?
No, we, with the new timekeeping software, Lieutenant Crawford did not like it. So we opted to keep the old system, that old piece of it, and it's cheaper.
Oh,
So it
cool.
worked out for the best.
Thanks for the explanation.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 22, consideration and possible action on approving 2021 juvenile detention service agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Item 23, consideration and possible action to approve cancellation of 1819 stale dated warrants. Man, that's a ways back.
You get you some Lysol and spray those, they won't be so bad.
We put them in Ziploc bags.
Oh, yeah. I'll move with approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? How come I do got some discussion. How come it takes them so long to get these stale dated?
It takes a year for something to stale date, and on these particular, they just slipped through the cracks between Sherry and I that we hadn't canceled them yet. Her side said they were canceled, my side said they weren't. So it's a cleanup.
18, 19, that's almost a year. Did we vote on that? All in
No.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I have no items for 24 and
My name's
25.
not on there, is it?
Awesome.
My name's not on here.
Item 26, consideration and possible action on consent agenda items.
Payroll claims.
I go to District 1,
What's that?
that return money,
I don't know where it came from.
highway. Unrestricted highway funds.
Well, it came out of one of our highway funds, so whichever one it came out of, it'll go back to. It's normally the way that's supposed to
1102
work.
County Highway. Unrestricted. Oh, rural fire. Oh, that's what it is.
My goodness.
Then you can go home and watch The Negotiator.
I might have to.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Marvin, I had to drop off one of my kids' friends at his house in Coltrane. There's a lot more houses going up there than I even knew about. Is that a trend or not a trend? Or?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
You lay down asphalt, and the property values go up, and people invest more, and, yeah.
Yeah, there's nice homes out there.
But, again, it's kind of a dual-edged sword, right? So.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
When we take our money and pave another road that used to be dirt, gravel, and we put asphalt on it, you know, people build around it.
Yeah.
And, well, more traffic, more use, and not any more road funds, you know.
Yeah.
We get more funds to run the county with, right? So,
Yeah.
and property taxes or ad valorem tax. But again, ad valorem tax, the schools get about 89% of that, 88 point something. Back to my fee for service, so later.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's the fuel consumption for the county comes back to us, but it's the Oklahoma Tax Commission that collects it and then redistributes back to us according to a formula that has a very, very small factor in it for population. So the increase is not very much and certainly doesn't reflect anywhere near the growth in population because of that growth. just to give you for instance, over there on, just past, well, between College and 105, just past Post Road, they put in, I don't know, a couple of hundred houses all of a sudden. College is dirt road for a mile and about a third. And going to the entrance of that north side of that addition. And my traffic count on that mile going over the 33 went from about 50 a day to run about 500 a day. So now I have all this wear and tear on that road that, I mean, you know, trying to keep it maintained is a challenge. No additional funds.
It's fine. Blankets.
Biggest complaint I've had over at Coltrane is when they get finished that first 2 miles, turned into a racetrack.
I gotta tell you, I drive down there a little more for my kid practices down there. It's nice.
Seems like we have a lot of racetracks. in
There's no one around you.
Nobody.
Yeah.
There's no one around you. That might change after a while, but right now,
The folks that lived out there for a while are still trying to get used to it. They're not getting used to it. They don't like it because their chickens and goats are getting chased off the road now, you know, at a high rate of speed.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
They used to live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And now they got a landing strip in front of their house.
A landing strip is right.
Walmart with the mask. It's the best I looked at any day.
It was as good as conference right now.
I heard, yeah, I got a message.
Officer reports.
Oh, that's all right.
So Troy, I just saw the bulk fuel request for civil defense. I guess that's for him driving around. But is there a way we can get him a P card for that?
He used use his fuel man card.
Is that what the blanket's for?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just didn't see haven't been paying attention to how much per month or whatever is being used on it, I guess.
Oh, he uses a fuel man card. And it's not much monthly.
Right. I mean, does that come through here at all?
It's on the expense report.
Okay. Like I said, there's a lot of that stuff comes through here. Okay. Thank you.
The governor hit? Really?
What?
The governor just tested positive for COVID yesterday.
You better get tested again, it's probably false positive.
Did you get a positive? You said you had it before.
I haven't had it, I've been tested for both, I have not examined it.
You're not there, huh?
I'm negative, can't test it. Still
You're
can't
always
test it.
negative.
Just had a cold then.
So maybe we'll have a field day with that.
Well, I'm negative so far, so.
So that's why he's at home.
Well, if I'm gonna get it, I'd rather have it this summer than this winter.
That's true.
Certainly would. Get that immunity built up.
You ready for me?
I just entertain a motion when you're done.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda items? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries.
I'm trying to keep it straight, Troy.
Item 27, consideration of possible action on approving claims for payment for
Claims.
July 2020. There's a lot of claims.
We write a lot of checks.
So much. $0.02 over.
Well, you have a hard time calculating that, you missed it by 2 cents.
There you go, 2 cents.
Well, doesn't matter if it's 2 cents or $200.
Yeah, over and over and 2 cents is kind of getting the nitty gritty though. You want my 2 cents on it?
Why, of course, sir.
Board of Prisoners missed it.
More license.
Well, yeah.
Just throw that out there. Seems like, yeah, they're gonna barbecue the cabin there for that deal. Like he went out and did it on purpose.
Get it over with. There's 3 types. People have had it, people got it, people gonna have it.
That's true. That's true. Well, there's that other type, people that wanna live in their basement forever.
Very true.
Scared of living. Them tripod stands from the Oklahoma Department of Corrections. That invoice 4P over there, $360. But they canceled a lot of our orders because they had riots and such. This has been about 6 months ago. And then after the riots were over, they decided to go ahead and ship that one. So, yeah, we canceled the PO and all that stuff. But no. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 28, consideration of possible action on approving purchase card payment for July 2020.
I'll make the motion to approve.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 8, any citizens desiring to be heard? Hearing none. Item 30, comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners.
Well, I hope to get that bridge. They're all Midwest engineered, and hopefully get the bid out and get all done within the next 2 to 3 months, maybe. And I'm also expecting to get, only use maybe half to 2/3 of that for this building project. That was the worst case scenario, was the 137,000. And with the additional, if it's there, well, we're going to be continuing on to that Midwest project. But it is in progress. It is moving forward. So I'm really glad to hear that. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mike. Marvin, got something?
Yeah, I do. I talked briefly about this at our other meeting that we talked about paving. I've got 4 miles of road that we need to pave this year. And what I did was I broke down what it cost to have it delivered or in different zones. So that's what those little red dots are. 1, 2, and 4 are the delivery zones, because the delivery charges are a little bit different. And our laid in place costs are a little bit different there. So each one of those projects has got 3 prices associated with it. One is a laid in place contract. So if you look up there at the north side, that 1 mile of Broadway, we estimated 1,460 tons to put a 2-inch overlay on that. The laid in place cost is $100,784. if we have the asphalt delivered to us and we lay it, it's $84,914. If we hauled the asphalt and laid it ourselves, the cost is $76,738 in asphalt charges, right? Of course, there's other charges associated with the fuel and having the vehicles and that sort of stuff. So that's what all of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects I've got. I've got 2 projects that are half-mile projects. One of them is to lay a brand new half-mile road there at Penn, going north of Charter Oak. But my point is, in the middle here, I've got it all rounded up, all right? So our CBRI funds that my district's been allocated, that we have approved over the last month, and previous to that we hadn't encumbered yet, was $257,000, and that's what we're going to use first to do this. Now, if we do laid in place, the red numbers underneath there, if we do laid in place, I'm going to have to add another $170,000 to that to make it work. If we have it delivered, I'll have to add $96,300 to it to make it work. If we haul it ourselves and lay it, I have to add $64,000. So earlier when I was talking about the difference between laid in place and having the asphalt delivered, that is the delta right there between that. The difference between $170,000 and $96,000. So it's about $75,000 difference in this whole 4-mile projects that we're going to do. Either having it contracted out to have it laid in place, or for us to do it ourselves. That's a significant savings for the county. And again, over time, it would pay for us to own one ourselves. And I just wanted to give that to you guys to let you see what that cost would be. Over there on the south west side, that mile over there, I originally put that in the wrong place, and it wouldn't let me change it after I did that. So it's actually on Santa Fe, not Western. Santa Fe's the mile we're going to do. The numbers and the tonnage is still exactly the same, but it's that's the projects we've got, and I've got 2 of them, actually 3 of them. We could do 3 miles we could start on today. So I appreciate any help that we can get. Monty, I know you said that you'd be more than happy to have you guys run the asphalt machine for us, because they're the experts on it. And Michael said you're going to turn it loose as soon as you can, and appreciate that.
Yeah. The only one for 3 districts, that's kind of a problem, but yes, we each need our own lay down machine, but I know that's impossible.
One thing we gotta do is coordinate though.
That's true.
Coordinate is the key.
All right,
I agree.
that's all I have, and I appreciate the help, fellas. Anyway, that's all I got.
Yes, sir.
Well, are you done, Marvin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The only thing I got is, we had to close the courthouse, so we had a positive test, and we had it deep cleaned, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I called down to get a price on what it cost to get a mister, and we could buy our own mister and 5 gallons of chemical, which I think they said he used 2 tablespoons of something. I don't remember the ratio, but anyway, we can buy a mister for $1,855 if y'all's interested in trying to keep the courthouse misted and maybe not have to close the doors.
And instead of paying $5,000 and
Right,
change,
exactly.
whatever it was to.
Might be good.
Well, the thing is, you can go to Harbor Freight and get a paint sprayer for about $160.
Straight from China?
I don't know where it's from, but I know they're
But
worth it.
it's the same thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, when I went down and had my COVID test done, that's what they use. They've got it kind of looks like a vacuum, except it pushes air through a spray gun,
Yeah.
and they put the chemical in it,
Yeah.
about $160.
Well, the 1855, that was with 5 gallons of chemical that they say it's the stuff you need.
Those stuff.
So anyway, if y'all's interested, let me know and I'll get that done. If not, no thing to me. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Works.
Alrighty. Item something or another, consideration possible action on adjournment.
31. I so move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.